Folks, you might remember back in October 2022, friend of the show, Taylor Lorenz, broke a story about the White House's plans to recruit an army of Gen Z social media influencers. This was in the Washington Post. Inside the Democrats' elaborate attempt to woo TikTok influencers, a free trip to D.C., a private chat with Obama, and an hour in the Oval Office with Biden, the Democrats are rolling out the red carpet for social media influencers. And there's Joe Biden there posing for a selfie with some of those who are, I guess, auditioning for a place in the Zoomer Influencer Biden 2024 squad. Well, it seems they've found some influencers who they like, and they have made their presence known online. Here's a couple of them. Here's Harry and Chris for you. This is the clip that went viral recently. We got a couple more to show you, but this will give you a pretty good idea of what the Biden influencer team is up to.
Republican Party doesn't understand about Gen Z is we don't like you. You claim you want to appeal to Gen Z, but you call us stupid, you say we're dumb, you say we're indoctrinated. I promise it's a losing strategy. And Gen Z is watching the Republican Party extremely closely as they destroy our environment, take rights away from women, do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken.
What is this kid doing in the background here? What is he doing?
Flexing.
What is this? What is this?
What's this? What's the flex in the bicep there? Is that inciting violence? Is that an incitement?
Oh, it seems like he's inciting violence.
Seems like you may be inciting something.
Republicans,
right? Right? What do you have to get so violent for? That's one of the more recent releases, but these guys have been at this for a while now, actually. Here's another one in which Harry Sisson attacks Marjorie Taylor Greene for defending the 21-year-old whistleblower Jack Teixeira, who leaked the Pentagon documents that indicated, as a throwback to our last segment, that the Ukraine war was heading for a stalemate at best. Here's what he has to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene defending that person. Talk about State Department talking points. Here we go.
Taylor Greene is now defending the 21-year-old who leaked top-secret classified U.S. documents. She said Jake Teixeira is white, male, Christian, and anti-war. That makes him an enemy to the Biden regime, and he told the truth about troops being on the ground in Ukraine and a lot more. Ask yourself, who is the real enemy? A young, low-level National Guardsman or the administration that is waging war in Ukraine? I mean, she can't possibly be serious, right? Like, this 21-year-old kid betrayed the United States. Like, look, we know that Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't care about America, but defending someone who betrayed this country? Really?
Defending someone who betrayed this country. Those are what the Bush-supporting nerds in high school would say. When I was in high school, the kids who wanted to reelect Bush, that's exactly the look.
In my day, we used to, it was the Reagan, we used to call them Reagan Nazis.
Right, exactly. Same exact thing. Same exact thing.
Yeah, they got to get Christopher Walken back to do a more white boy bit. Because these guys, we need more white boy. It's not enough white boy. You're really going to want more white boy.
Yeah, I need some more white boy.
I got more white boy.
And the prescription is more white boy.
More white boy. We were talking about this earlier offline. Okay, so you look at Joe Biden's campaign commercial. It is all people of color. We talked about that when we looked at the commercial. And if you look at the people that they're setting up as cutouts to pretend that they're Biden supporters, they're all white. They're all white, and not just white. They are like Casper white. Everybody that they're getting. You look at Politics Girl, that is some shiksa, as my grandfather would have said. You look at these. I mean, these kids are like you almost feel like ChatGPT created them. They're so ridiculously, stereotypically suburban white kid.
Well, it's funny you mention that because the Republicans came out with an AI-generated ad in response to Biden's campaign launch video, and this could be an AI-generated TikTok influencer campaign. But no, you're right. And, what I said to you offline, I think is right, which is they put a lot of minority, workers, in the ad because they need non-whites for the votes. But the people who donate, like the PMC shit libs who respond to these ads and break out their checkbook, they're white. They're white people.
Right.
Like
Right.
the PMC
Right.
white people are the one who write the checks, and then they need the non-white people to vote for them, and that's how they win. They stitch together 50% that way. But
you also made the point that, they probably know somebody who knows somebody. That's how these kids got hooked up. They're hooking up their friends. They're hooking up their social class, just like Hollywood, right?
Well, that's what we're going to get into right now.
You look at someone who's successful in Hollywood, even if you don't know about it, even if their parents weren't like celebrity actors, they worked at Paramount, they worked at MGM, they had some job in the business where the kid got hooked up, where the kid did not start at the basement.
Well, that's what we're going to get into now, because, these guys want to put out there that, no, they're just a couple of organic, Biden-loving white boys who really care about the environment and, women's right to choose and all that stuff. But Twitter users were quick to add a community note that Harry and Chris were paid DNC actors. So this started appearing under the tweets of their videos. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. In late 2022, Biden's campaign team contacted young social media influencers, including Harry Sisson, to draw in voters ages 18-29. They put their sources there. And then Sisson recently signed with Pallet Management. Pallet received more than $200,000 from the DNC in the last 8 months, and then they source that statement in those two links down there. So these guys, Harry and Chris, did not appreciate the insinuation or the outright claim that they were being paid by the DNC, and so they made a video denying it. Here's this.
Recently, many people on the right have been accusing myself and Chris of being paid by the DNC, and we just wanted to come on and say that's an incredibly dumb thing to think.
Yeah, like, congratulations, you discovered we're both signed to Pallet Management, which is in our bios, and Pallet's a huge company, right? They do marketing work, they do management work, so they receive that money to do marketing and to cover travel expenses separate from what we do, so we haven't...
Receive that from who? From the Democratic National Committee.
Exactly.
Right? That's been sourced. So the DNC pays this talent agency, and that talent agency then gets you to create content. Do you do it for free? I don't imagine they would have to pay them $200,000 if you did it for free, but let's hear them out here.
Seen a dime of that $200,000, like, do you really think I would dress like this if I had $200,000?
Yes.
And again, it's all
public
information.
Right, because this is a costume. That's wardrobe.
It's a costume, right.
That's wardrobe. Exactly. It's called wardrobe. That's what we call it in a business. Wardrobe.
Wardrobe.
Yeah.
And we're also, you discovered we're Democrats, and we're going to vote for Joe Biden, which I think most people already knew.
And look, if the DNC is handing out checks, we should be first in line to receive them, but that's simply not happening, and we haven't received a dime from the DNC. And we want to make it clear, we're perfectly happy to work with organizations that share our vision. So if someone reached out to us and say, hey, we're trying to make sure the environment is protected, would love to work with them. But we are simply not working with the DNC, and we want to reiterate that everything that's been posted on social media is public information. This is not a home run story. It's all out there for everybody to see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're going to go continue our normal content like people want to see. Maybe we'll go hang out with Hillary and Hunter on an island or something, but not the home run story you think it is, and we love
All right, and we love you.
God.
Now, here's the thing. They ended up deleting that video shortly after they posted it, which leads you to believe that they were full of garbage. Right, because
why
he
else
puts
would they
that
delete
line
it?
in there. He puts that line, we are not working with the DNC in that video.
Right.
Whether they're being directly paid by the DNC is in question, because the DNC's obviously gave some money to Pallet Management, to the agency. Whether the agency pays the kids or whether the agency uses that to promote the video so the kids get more money through YouTube or TikTok, right, or where they post their content.
I mean,
we don't know exactly what the relationship is, but that sentence there, we have not worked with the DNC, that's clearly false. It's just obviously false. And you know what I don't understand is why they don't admit that they're being paid to do this. Because look, a couple of 20-something-year-old kids getting paid very well to simp for Joe Biden, that makes you somewhat cool if you're making money, right? Can't knock the hustle. if you're doing this shit for free, you are some of the saddest losers to ever walk the earth. Like, if you are two 20-somethings who are just naturally and organically this into Joe Biden, that you have, if you go to their TikTok page, I mean, they have done hundreds of these things. I mean, they come out with a dozen of these things a day. It is insane the amount of content they put out there. If you're doing this for free, that speaks lower of you than if you're getting paid, I believe.
These are the uncoolest 20-something in America, or they're being paid.
Or they're being paid, right.
No, nobody would. Obviously, they're being paid. I mean, from what I know of how it works with influencers, they're paying that company, and the company is taking their cut, and they're passing on payments in exchange for cutting ads. They're getting, I mean, that's if L'Oreal wanted you to promote L'Oreal, that's how it would work. So yeah, I mean, clearly they're getting paid by the DNC. If they weren't, they wouldn't have taken. Why would they take? There was nothing wrong with it on the face of it. There was nothing wrong with the video on the face of it, unless you're lying, which clearly they are, and they were afraid it was going to come out. That would be the next shoe to drop, so they panicked and pulled it down.
Yeah, and why would they lie? Why would you make that up? First of all, why would you want people thinking you're doing this for free? That just makes you super lame if you're doing this for free. But second of all, it was out there in the Washington Post that Biden was doing this. I think the White House was very open about the fact that, yeah, we're hiring some people to
Were they
create content
clear
for
about
us.
hiring, though? Because the impression I
recruiting.
got was exactly. They didn't make it clear these are going to be paid spokespeople. They made it sound more like, yeah, we invited them to have a chat with Uncle Joe, ask them to spread the word, spread the message.
I took from that campaign, I took from those news stories, because we talked about it a little bit when the news broke, that, yeah, they were going to be basically working with them to help them create content.
But
of course, there'd be a budget.
I didn't think they'd pay them, though. No,
Well,
I didn't.
I figured they would. And look,
I didn't.
Well, here's why I did. Because, people in the audience might be watching those videos and they may be thinking, who on earth, who's not already convinced to vote for Joe Biden, would watch that and say, that's it, I'm in for Joe Biden? Nobody. These videos are not persuading anybody. They're not intended to persuade anybody. These videos represent perfectly what the Democratic Party MO is, which is to hook mediocre people up with large sums of money for being mediocre people. That's what it is.
Yep.
It is a gig flow. So what you have here are a couple of kids whose parents probably made some donations to the Democratic Party in the past, and they took a look and they say, oh, hey, we're looking to recruit some social media people to help with the campaign. Oh, look at these nice check from these people. Oh, palette management. Who are they? Who's ever heard of palette management? It's nobody. It's nothing. This is just mediocrity, right? There's just some like middling talent agency from God knows where. Oh, okay. They wrote us a few checks. You know what? Why don't we get in touch with those kids? Why don't we throw those kids a bone? We'll give them some money back. All right? That's how it works. That's how the party operates. That's what's most important to the Democratic Party, is maintaining those kinds of relationships with these kinds of people. That PMC donor base, they cut the checks. You give a little bit back, they write more checks. Right? You give a little bit back, they create content to create more people to write more checks. That's what it's all about. It's all about sending a little money out to get a lot of money coming in. That's all that matters. Whether they convince people to vote for Joe Biden is irrelevant. They don't care. Win the election, lose the election, whatever. Our base is going to love this. Oh, look at these cute kids. And their base is stupid enough to actually think that it might influence people.
Well, because half their base have kids like this.
Right. Exactly.
The people who write the checks have kids like this. Yeah, and this is what I think those of us who campaigned for Bernie, I think almost everyone in our audience did on one or both of the campaigns, get involved in that campaign. This is what we really naively did not understand, that winning elections was beside the point. Right. That they're in the politics business. It's a business for them. When they're out of power, even better. Right. You got to donate so we can get back into power. And then when they're in power, they can, go to war in Ukraine and stuff money back into the pockets of their arms manufacturer donors. So they make it on both ends. They make it whether they're in power or out of power. They make it either way. They're in the politics business. So the idea of allowing somebody like Bernie Sanders to take over the party, that's like you walked into a microchip factory and explained why they should start making tires.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, they're not in that business. They're not in the tire business. They're in the microchip business. They're in the politics business. They're not in the helping people business. They're not in the serving the public business. They're in the politics business. They're in greasing their palms and greasing the palms of their rich criminal friends. That's it. That's all they're there for. That's what we didn't understand. That's what was so shocking to so many of us, because we thought it was a political party. We didn't realize that it's, basically something you could probably prosecute under the RICO Act if you had any prosecutors with the balls to do it.
Please clap.